We brought you those live visuals as the body of the late AmaZulu regent, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini Zulu, arrived at Nongoma in KwaZulu-Natal. There are lots of activity outside the palace, and now those who are invited have moved into the palace, and the media was asked not to continue covering that event, although we did hear from Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi shortly thereafter. Let's talk now about the Zulu succession system and the traditional process of bearing a queen and what we can expect as we continue with the week. To discuss, we're joined by Dr. VVO Mkhize, who is the founder and chairman of the Umsamo Institute. Doctor, thank you for being with us. Earlier, we saw the Amabuto, men in traditional dress, carrying traditional weapons, and the maidens. And there was a solemn dance alongside the hearse of the Queen. There was chanting outside the palace in Nongoma. Explain the significance of what we were witnessing tonight.
Thank you very much, Francis. Thank you very much to the listeners of SABC Channel 404. First of all, I think it is our tradition, isiko nesintu, that someone who is at that kind of a level will have to be welcomed in that manner, and also certain rituals have to be performed. For instance, I would assume that before they fetched her body from the funeral parlor or whatever, they had to use the branch of a tree called Umlashankosi to fetch her spirit from the hospital, because there are two things here. There's a spirit and also the body. They had to fetch the spirit with the branch of Umlashankosi, and then they now could take her body and drive as they did all the way from Johannesburg to KwaZulu. Now, automatically, those Amabuto had to wait outside there. Now, for the media not to continue beyond where it is said that they must stop, it is now going to be the secret of the royal family. What is it that is next to be done? Let me give you an example. For instance, you remember very well that people who were actually looking after the whole process of King Zwelithini's funeral and so on, it was the Kwandwandwe, of which that was his maternal side. Also, that Ihlahla of Umlasankosi, the branch, was carried by the Ndwandwe family together with the Ngwane family, which is Kwagogo. And now, automatically now, it means that what's going to happen beyond there, they are going to build an Ikukwane. Because that's what they did to King Zwelithini. There was Ikukwane that was actually built, which is a traditional hut or house, where actually his body was kept. So the same here will have to happen, because she is one of the Undlunkulu who was paid lobola by the nation, and also she was given isigodlo kwakhangela mankengane, which is also was built by the nation as well. So that Ikukwane, for sure, it has to be done, but it will have to be built by the Kwandwandwe, the Kangwane, together with her own family, where I think, even though her body maybe might lie in a mobile something or whatever, but it will have to move into that Ikukwane just to perform the whole thing. Now, I understand also that there was a request for the skin of a leopard, Iskumba Sengwe, that it must be used as a blanket or whatever that will be given to her to go along with, to join the ancestors of the Zulu family. And I understand that that Isikumba has been actually got, and that's what is going to happen. Now, we have got a problem at this point in time of understanding how is the succession going to happen. I'll give you an example. We are dealing with three wills here. The first one, if you remember very well, is the will or the letter that was left by the king himself, which actually appointed Mantfombi Dlamini Zulu to be the regent until now the qualifying son takes over. But we find that immediately after her passing away, now there is a court challenge. Now, this court challenge is coming from two words. The first one is the civil marriage and the customary marriage. Now, the thing with uNdlunkulu Mantombi, her lobola was paid by the nation, which is a norm that the person who will actually give birth to a king is the one where the lobola is paid by the nation, of which she qualifies as far as that is concerned. But here comes now the other Ndlunkulu says, no, I was actually married in a proper, full, customary marriage. Now, those are the two challenges. Now, not overlooking the one where we are saying there is a signed document. Now, this is another court case that is coming up. So those are the three things that will actually be the hinder now or stumbling blocks when it comes to this, to the successor who is now going to be a king.
Yeah, which means a possible leadership vacuum. What happens now?
Well, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi promised us that there won't be any vacuum, but we don't know because, you see, even now, there is still going to be a royal council, a royal family council meeting that is going to take place tonight, which is going to determine where really are the remains of the uNdlunkulu are going to be laid. Remember, I said her children requested that if her remains can be actually be laid at KwaKhangela Amangengane. But remember, whoever that takes over, it means if the remains are actually buried at KwaKhangela Amangengane, that particular successor, he will never enter the KwaKhangela Amangengane, because if you are a king, you don't attend funerals. If you are a king, you don't stay in the Esigodlo where there is a grave or whatever the case. So therefore, these are all the dynamics that we'll have to wait for and see what is actually going on. So in the meantime, there will be a vacuum, I don't know, but also on the other side, I don't know how will they then intervene, not actually to, how can I put it, to allow that vacuum to happen.
Yeah. All right. So tomorrow there will be a private ceremony. You say that who attends will be significant. But just tell us about some of the tradition around that. Tell us about the significance of a night burial or being laid to rest at the crack of dawn, just as King Goodwill's Welithini was.
Let me go back to the history. It is not the history of the Zulus or of the previous Zulu kings from Cyprian backwards that the funeral must be done at night. It was only King Zwelithini's decision where he said, all my family members, starting with me, must be buried. Whoever that passes away must be buried at night. That is very critical and very important. So we remember his first son who passed away. He was buried at night, and also he himself was buried at night, and also Mantombi will have to follow that. Therefore, it means that all his children, all his uNdlunkulus, whatever that happens to them in future, they will be buried at night. It is not the tradition and the culture of the Zulus or of the previous uNdlunkulus or Isigodlo. It was only and only created by Zwelithini for his own decisions, and we don't know why or whatever. Now, I would suppose, or I would think that in that funeral, it will only and only be few people. Because you see, in our culture and tradition, there are so many sorcerers, there are so many people who are not good. They will make it a point that even the grave is only known by few people. Even though I'm saying that maybe she might be, her remains might be buried at KwaKhangela Amangengane, they might change. And they might say it is at KwaKhangela Amangengane, only to find that maybe it's somewhere else. But everything will remain a secret. Now, coming to the rituals, this is another interesting thing in our tradition that Mantombi passed away at a very bad time. There was actually the morning, Ukuzila, of the whole family, royal family. And there was also the mourning Ukuzila herself for her own husband. Now, normally in our culture and tradition is that there must be some kind of cleansing that must happen. Now, looking to this, it's hardly a month after the king passed away. There was not even a single cleansing that was done by all the royal family members. There was not even a single cleansing that was done for all the Ondlunkulu. So we are wondering what's going to happen now. Will they continue Bazile? In other words, wear in Zilo, which is now the mourning tag or whatever? Or if they don't, what's going to happen? And also what sort of rituals that will be done, which will be only and only be unique to the family of KwaZulu.
Dr. Mkhize, we have to leave it there, but thank you for a wonderful explanation of some of the secrecy, some of the questions regarding this. That was Dr. VVO Mkhize, the founder and chairman of the Umsamo Institute. And of course, we'll bring you what we can about the events that will take place tomorrow.